Dalton Varsho was a one-man wrecking crew last night versus the Orioles. Yankees fans were loving it, but they might not love this next sentence. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., he might finally be breaking out all over again. Bryson Stott hit a huge home run off of Edwin Diaz, but was it enough to spark a full-blown comeback? Brian Reynolds, he had a career-high 5 base hits yesterday, and the Angels, man, I don't think it can get much worse for this organization. We're going to talk about all of that and more in today's MLB Recap. We post these every single day, so support the channel, join the team, hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets. And right now on Underdog Fantasy, baseball's going on, playoff basketball's going on, golf is coming up. New users who use my code Fuzzy on Underdog Fantasy get up to a $250 bonus cash credit. If you wanted a pitcher's duel to start today's recap, you're not going to get it because this was a tooth and nail sort of game, just back and forth. Gabriel Moreno, he homered for the first time of the year, only to have the man who breaks Spencer Steer steal the lead on a 2-run double. He's got 29 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, and 4 home runs. Jock Peterson did have 4 home runs, and then he went 435 feet for his 5th of the year. He has 4 at-bats total versus lefties this year, so it makes sense why he has a 172 OPS plus. Now remember, this was a back-and-forth game. The Snakes, they went up 3-2 on a Pavin Smith sac fly, so this Mike Ford RBI single ties things up at 3. The Reds really wanted the lead, and maybe they were a little bit too aggressive. Ellie, he tried to do this with 2 outs, and he was trying to push it, so I get it. He's trying to backpack the squad, but the inning's over. He got backpicked. I would have just tried to steal second base because he does have 25 stolen bases. The score's still at 3-3. Arizona, they were hitless with runners in scoring position. When Eugenio Suarez changed their luck on one swing, he brought home Christian Walker, and then Corbin Carroll, he made a sick... Wait, did he actually? It looked like it bounced. Replay confirmed that it did in fact bounce, so Jamier, he ties the game again. That makes this a go-ahead triple from Mike Ford for his 3rd RBI in 2 games. Arizona lost the lead, then they lost Jock Peterson to an ejection. It seemed like it was personal because Jock was kind of barking at him earlier in the game or just jawing at him. And that's an awful strike 3 call, so again, it seemed personal, and I think the baseball gods knew it was, so in steps Kevin Newman for the Diamondbacks. The bases are loaded. Kevin Newman's 4th hit of the game walks it off. The Diamondbacks, they've won 2 in a row. They're 6-4 over their last 10, so they're looking a lot better lately. So we just saw Alexis Diaz blow a save. What about his brother Edwin? He's also going to have a save opportunity. We'll talk about him in a second. Garrett Stubbs, he bunted for an RBI. That's his 1st RBI of the year. Small ball is back. Not really, but at least for one clip. JD Martinez then tied it up on a double. He scored Pete after Pete doubled. Tomas Nido, he drove in the go-ahead run. Now we're going to skip to the 7th because both teams, they scored a run, so it's still Mets out in front, and they're going to grow their lead by 1 after a costly error from Alec Boehm. Instead of stepping on the bag and turning 2 potentially, he whiffs it. The Mets, they extend their lead. Edwin Diaz, he was grateful for that insurance run because my friend Bryson Stott turned on a 97 fastball down and in, and he got it to go. Bryson's got 4 home runs on the year. Phillies still down by 1. They got 2 runners on for Schwarber. He's down swinging. Garrett Stubbs, he popped up for the 2nd out, and what would a Phillies and Mets game be without a little bit of controversy? Witt checked his swing according to the umpire, which is crazy because he for sure swung. Instead, it's ball 4. The bases are juiced for the runner in scoring position king Alec Boehm, and he didn't even get a chance because he got hit by a runaway fastball that ties the ball game up. Both Diaz brothers blow a save. The Mets were then held scoreless in the 9th, so free baseball it is. We go to extras. Our friend Bryson Stott put the team on his back again. His 2nd RBI came on a go-ahead sac fly, and then he made a nice little grab to end it. I thought McNeil definitely dunked that in, but Stott, he was shaded up the middle and had a great read off the bat. The Phillies are the first to 29 wins. The Dodgers are right on their heels in terms of wins, and a win here would put them at 28. Mookie, he finally hit his 7th home run. He had gone 26 consecutive games without a home run. Only to have Luis Matos, not Matos like I used to say. He rips the lead right from the hands of Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The 22-year-old barreled up a curveball. I think Yamamoto allowed like 2 runs over his previous 20 innings, and then he gives up 3 on one swing. Ohtani, he got 1 of those back. Shohei can still turn on the Jets when he needs to because he's still like, what, 28, 29 years old? He's still got some youth on his side. And this is huge for Gavin Lux. Lux, he doubled in Max Muncy for his 2nd hit of the night. He ties things up at 3. Yamamoto did a great job to limit the damage. He held the Giants in check after that 3-run jack to Matos, but like he was holding them in check, was past tense. If you're a Giants fan, this is exciting because Luis Matos hit a 3-run home run, and Elliot Ramos, he snatches the lead back on an RBI single. His exit velocities, bat speed, and defense are looking much better this year. Don't forget, he was a top 100 prospect from 18 to 22, talking about Elliot Ramos. So it seems like all of the momentum is going towards the Giants, or not. Enrique Hernandez went 410 feet feet for a pinch hit solo home run. We're back to being tied from a pinch hitter to a pinch runner. Wilmer Flores, he took a walk, and of course he's not that fast, so they brought in the speedy Tyler Fitzgerald, who immediately got picked off by Blake Treinen. He's caught leaning. To extras we go, and I'm glad that these clips are muted because someone was screaming endlessly. There was a live mic on or something. I mean, it was exciting because Will Smith had a 2-run double. He has 20 RBIs, and the Dodgers take a 6-4 lead. The Dodgers deployed JP Fireisen, who had a 0 ERA in 2022 before getting hurt. He got a strikeout, but then he walked Mike Yastrzemski. That seemed intentional because that's exactly what they were looking for. They got the force out at second. They turned the double play. JP Fireisen, he gets his first save since 2022. Good for him. By the way, wait for the web gems because Mike Yastrzemski made a sick play, but because we just talked about sick plays, we got to find Ronald and the Braves because he just made a nice play at the track. He robbed Seiya Suzuki of extra bases. He's very good going back on baseballs, and he's been a little bit better going in on baseballs this year. So that's a great sign for Braves fans. Shutout Shota, he was out there doing his thing. He threw 3 shutout until Michael Harris made things interesting in the 4th. His single got Adam Duvall to third base, and the Braves, they're on the cusp of a big inning. Shota said, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing, like the dude from TikTok, the Spider-Man guy. That rising fastball got d'Arnaud to chase for strike 3, and now things got even more interesting because Shota, he walked Zach Short to get to Ronald Acuna Jr., and Craig Counsell actually got ejected because Craig thought that Ronald did not check his swing. Shota then got himself out of trouble. Either that or Ronald just missed it. He dropped his PCI because that was right down the middle. Ronaldo Lopez and Shota Imanaga, they have been insane this year. Shota, he has a 0.96 ERA, and Ronaldo has a 1.34 ERA, but he's not throwing as hard, so again, velocity isn't everything. Hit your spots. Hayden Wesneski came in for the 6th inning in Atlanta. They saw him a whole lot easier. Travis d'Arnaud put himself in scoring position, and Zach Short traded places, so that's his first base hit as a Brave. They both double, and then he scores on a Ronald Acuna Jr. single. AJ Minter, he completes the shutout for his first save. The Braves, they're 25-13. Cubs fans are now praying that Pittsburgh can clutch up and hand Milwaukee an L. Remember, the Brewers are only in first place by half a game. Chicago loves that. Captain Jack Sawinski with the cannonball, and Brian Reynolds, he opens the hips and ripped an RBI double. That's his 2nd of 5. Yes, 5 base hits. McCutchen, he scored on that double, and then he brought home his own RBI later in the 7th. O'Neal Cruz, he is bringing us into the future with this RBI because MLB, they're now able to track bat speed and bat tracking. The analytics are so much fun because now we can see that O'Neal Cruz swung his bat at 85.5 miles an hour. So naturally, when you're swinging the bat that fast, you're going to go 116 off the bat. The future is now. Bat tracking is another saber metric that you're going to have to argue about on social media. The Pirates were up a ton. Well, I guess 5 isn't a ton, and now it's not even 5 anymore. Willie did get hosed trying for 3 bases, but he brought in 2. Yasmani got them both back on an absolute 2-run no-doubter. I think it's great that Yasmani is raking because I'm thinking it will fuel Henry Davis, the #1 pick from 2021, who's kind of looked overmatched at the big league level. Maybe he'll step it up now that he has true competition. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jake Bauers just made it a brand new game. His grand slam made it a 1-run deficit. He is one of the most confusing players in baseball because his exit velocities and chase rates are always great, but he goes on month-long, sometimes 2-month-long slumps after raking. Maybe the Brewers can fully unlock him. Brian Reynolds, he stepped up a perfect 4 for 4, and I already spoiled it, but I didn't tell you how he got his 5th hit. His 5th hit is a long one. He raised his batting average by 23 points in one game. David Bednar, he's on the bump, and you got to be kidding me. Even with Cabrian Hayes out, they can do this at the hot corner. Jared Triolo must have been handed a baseball with Hayes power in it, and then it transferred like Space Jam, but baseball version. David Bednar, he has an 8 ERA, but he's got 8 saves. Man, these close games will not let up. Yet another game decided by a run or 2, and for the 2nd straight game, I think, Miami, they made a comeback after giving up 3 runs early on. Baez got the first run on a weird play at second. I must be a bad baseball fan because it looked like interference, but I guess McKinstry avoided the tag and it's not interference. I don't know. Anyway, Carson Kelly and Riley Green, they both singled to make it 3-0 off of Sixto Sanchez, but none of them were earned runs. The Tigers nearly stole another run in the 4th. McKinstry, he stole second base, got to third base, and it almost seemed like Jazz purposely dogged it like he was baiting Zach to try and go home, and Jazz actually got him, so the score stays 3-0 Tigers. Brian De La Cruz and the core of the Marlins lineup quickly changed that. Brian dunked in an RBI single, and Josh Bell, he ripped a long RBI double to score Brian De La Cruz. The Marlins were not done yet with the 2-out rally. There's another RBI knock. Jesus Sanchez now has 17 RBIs. Did Otto Lopez do it again? Who is this dude? He doesn't look all that big, but man, he's got 2 big boy home runs over the last few games. He's hitting .315 with 3 home runs on the year. So in the 8th now, rookie Wencel Perez, he raised his OPS plus to 147 after he hit a double. Andy Ibanez cashed in that run, and that made me happy because now we can say that Spencer Torkelson hit a go-ahead 446 foot, let's just round up to 250-foot moonshot. The millisecond it hit his barrel, he knew that it was gone. That's the Torkelson that we want. He's got 2 home runs on the year, both in the last 48 hours. Jason Foley has 10 saves after striking out 2 in the 9th. The Tigers, they're back to 1 game over 500. Now, they're still 4.5 games back of the Guardians because Tanner Bybee, he put the defending champs in a blender last night. He struck out 4 Rangers over 5 1/3 shutout. He's off to a roller coaster season after finishing 2nd AL Rookie of the Year last year. Michael Lorenzen, he was even more disgusting. He held Cleveland to 1 hit over 7 shutout. He had 4 strikeouts over those 7, so he was living off of the Guardians' aggressiveness. Fast forwarding to the 8th, Estevan Florial, he got it just past the leaping Adolis Garcia, and the rookie Brian Rocchio, he flared one to shallow center. Leote has a cannon, but it hit the mound, and Cleveland, they score in the funniest ways, I swear. They get so many breaks. The bases are now loaded after Tyler Freeman walked and Andres Gimenez hit a little single. J-Ram's up now, which is bad news because he's always better as a righty in my opinion. 2 are going to score easy, and then everyone advances on one of the worst throws I've ever seen. Josh Naylor, he was intentionally walked, and how dare you disrespect my boy David Fry. He ended up taking a walk, but not before the Rangers just threw it past everyone. That's Cleveland's 4th run of the inning. Rocchio started another little rally in the 9th. Freeman walked again. I think Rangers pitchers had 8 walks in this game. Andres knocked in Rocchio, and then J-Ram secured a 4 RBI night. He has 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, with a 749 OPS plus. So he's got those insane stats despite the fact that he's basically slumping, but his saving grace has been the fact that he's hitting .330 with runners in scoring position. That'll boost up your stats. The Rangers have to flip the switch. They've now lost 4 in a row, and I think the Astros have officially flipped the switch. I'm going to knock on wood. Their soon-to-be free agent third baseman, he also flipped the switch as well. We'll talk about Alex Bregman in a second because as soon as you saw that play, you knew it was going to be a long day for the A's. Pena, he scores on the red throw from Soderstrom, and King Tuck, he laced his 21st extra base hit of the season. Altuve flies around from first to score. I will show this for A's fans because Soderstrom, he made up for his mistake. He drove in Rooker to make it a 2-1 game. It's just, like I said earlier, Bregman, he broke out. That's just his 2nd home run of the year. And then he popped off again. Now, the best part about this is, yeah, he had 2 home runs, but he wasn't done with the RBI extra base hits. Altuve, he singled in Jake Myers. By the way, Altuve's hitting .320 with the 153 OPS plus. 2 got on for Bregman after Jordan hit one the other way, and Schumann, he bobbled it. More bad defense from the A's. I don't know what Lawrence Butler's read was off the bat, but like it seemed catchable. Then again, I'm a 5'8" man in his room making YouTube videos. Who am I to judge? Bregman, he'll take it though. He walks away with 2 home runs, a double, and 4 RBIs. He raised his OPS from 534 to 615. Caratini, he line went past Brett Harris at third base. He pushed it to almost double digits. The Astros, they're playing 10 in a row at home, so they're about to change their season in 1 week. They could literally get right back into the race if the Rangers keep on slipping or Seattle takes their foot off the gas. Now, before we show the highlights, look at this 1 in a trillion, billion, zillion moment. A fan caught 2 foul balls on 2 consecutive pitches. I don't think we're ever going to see that ever again. The Mariners not only did not take their foot off the gas, they hit the accelerator. Luke Raley, he's playing like 2023 Raley. Finally, Jose Caballero, he was making it look like a landslide trade, but Luke, he's now hitting .315 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs over his last 55 at-bats. Now Raleigh is going to hit one of the longest RBI singles I've ever seen. J-Rod, he scores. Polanco, he has to hold up at first base. Blanco, he missed the web gem by a few inches. Remember how I said that Raley has 7 RBIs in his last 55 at-bats? Make it 8 RBIs over 56 at-bats. This is big for the Mariners, especially after seeing Kelnick kind of raking lately for the Braves, and I wish that this guy was on my team. I know it's a random game of the regular season, but Kirby, he's never faced. He's the same guy no matter if it's October or a random Sunday in May. This dude absolutely mowed down Kansas City for 6 strikeouts over 7 shutout. He only allowed 3 base hits as well, and he also did not walk anyone. He has 24 walks total over his last 241 innings. Kansas City, they made things feel close with a 2-run double. Michael Massey now has quietly 14 RBIs over his last 13 games. I see you, Michael. We also see this baseball go bye-bye. Ty France's 3rd home run hit the scoreboard in deep left, and because Munoz went out for 4 outs, he got the save. That's his 6th save of the year. That's a big, big W for the Mariners. They're now 1.5 games ahead of the Rangers for first place in the AL West. Before we show even more tightly contested games, let's show one that was a blowout, but also not a blowout, because look, the Halos, they grabbed an early lead after Kyron, something like that. Kyron Paris doubled in Zach Neto. This Paris kid is looking great because it's a small sample size, yes, but whatever he did in the offseason, it's working. The exit velocities are through the roof. Nolan Shanuel bunted for a single, and Paris showed off the wheels. I forgot to mention that he's also top 7% in speed. Kevin Pillar, his Mark McGuire-esque hot streak continued with a 2-run home run. He's up to 3 home runs and 12 RBIs over his last 19 at-bats. Angels starting pitcher Jose Soriano, he was amazing. He struck out 6 Redbirds over 5 1/3 shutout. He leaves on just 83 pitches, but hey, it worked out. Simber, he got Goldie to roll into a double play. The the Angels are through 6 scoreless, which makes this next sentence even crazier. The Angels gave up 10 in this game. Nolan Arenado, he started the comeback and rally with a wall scraper home run, just his 3rd of the year. Matt Moore, he couldn't put out the fire as both Mason Wynn and Matt Carpenter, they singled to drive in some runs. Carpenter ended up with 2 RBIs after Donovan snuck in past the tag Adele. He made a nice throw, but it's now 4-4. Matt Moore walked Nootbaar, so another pitching change for the Angels, and oh boy, that's a painful way to get an RBI, but Goldie will take it, especially with how bad he's been to start the year. Gorman actually walked for another RBI. I just don't have time to show it because Ivan Herrera made it an 8th spot in the 7th inning. Kevin Pillar grabbed another RBI to make it 8-5, but again, I don't have time to show it because this happened. That's how the Cardinals get runs 9 and 10. Dude, the Angels, I feel so bad for that fan base. They are an actual embarrassment. Are the Angels the worst team in baseball? Who really knows anymore? Because I asked that about the Rockies last week, and now they've won 4 in a row. Montero, he knocked in 3 on the night. The first RBI came right before Xander went 415 feet. Xander now has a home run in back-to-back games. Montero, he split the gap for 2 more RBIs, and I love the hustle from everyone. Cave, he scored from first, and Montero, he got to third base. Chuck Nasty, he made it a 3-run 4th, and Tovar, he's handed a free RBI, their 4th run of the day. Tatis and Merrill did not communicate, so the ball dropped right in front of them, and I'm thinking that maybe pissed off the Padres because Profar and Merrill both hit mammoth home runs. Profar's was a 2-run nuke. He's up to 7 home runs and 29 RBIs. Jackson basically went to the same spot but further, and then Luis Ariz is now up with 2 runs, and on 1 swing, they get 2 outs. But the tying run is at third base, and Nando, he can send San Diego into another frenzy. He got beat. That rollover gets Colorado out of another mess, and then they got themselves right back into a mess. This Justin Lawrence guy is the best awful relief pitcher I've ever seen. He basically walked the bases loaded, and Campusano just missed it because he throws 95 from the side. It's hard to barrel up. We have even more walks for the Rockies. Jalen Beeks, he walked the leadoff hitter, and Luis Ariz, he's going to dunk one into shallow right. No, he's not. Jake Cave, he saves the game with a Superman catch, and then Beeks got Manny to bounce into a double play. The Rockies, they won 5 games in a row. LA, they now have the biggest lead in baseball because the Padres lost at 6.5 games. Now, my boy Cutter Crawford, Yandy Diaz smoked a single, then he walked Harold Ramirez, and for the 2nd time in as many games, Cedar Rafaela, he was like an inch away from making one of the plays of the year. 2 score on that deflection, and Ahmed, he gets the third base on a free triple, and Richie Palacios, he makes it 4 former Guardians in a row. Yandy, Harold, Ahmed, and Richie, they combined for 4 runs, and they were all in the Guardians in the last 5 years. Now, the Red Sox got cooking quickly after Devers. He got one to just stay fair, and then Tyler O'Neill, he wants to make $25 million a year. He had 34 home runs, 15 stolen bases, and a Gold Glove back in 2021, so he has the talent. He just has to stay healthy and remind people of what he's capable of. That's his 10th of the year. He's also walking at an insane 14.2% clip. The Jose's took over for Tampa Bay. Caballero was handed a double after Willier. He's been a web gem machine, but he overran that pop-up, and then Jose Siri, he smoked a line drive sac fly. So Tampa's back up by 1, make it 2 after Ahmed Rosario drove in his 3rd RBI. He's hitting .296 with 18 RBIs, but I've seen a lot on social media that Rays fans are just bewildered by his plate approach and awful defense. Get used to it. He is one of the weirdest players in baseball because he's good and then he's awful all at the same time. Jason Adam got his 3rd save. Rami Gonzalez went down swinging. Watch the heck out. Tampa, they're now 7-3 over their last 10, and they're 9th in team OPS over the last 15 days. I didn't do this on purpose, but I guess I saved Dalton Varsho's Herculean efforts for the final game of the recap. Ali Rutschman is now a mind-bending 11 for 16 versus Jose Barrios. That's back-to-back games with the home run for Rutschman. That ball almost went 430 feet. O'Hearn, he powered up to deep center, but you can't hit it to this guy. Varsho, he scales the wall. He's got 8 DRS and 7 outs above average through 39 games, so you're literally witnessing all-time defensive stuff right here. Don't miss out on it. Enjoy the moment. We're going to fast forward to the 6th inning. Vladdy, he ripped a 114-mile-per-hour single and eventually scored on a shallow knock from Daniel Vogelback. By the way, Vlad, he's hitting .340 with the .419 on-base percentage over his last 24 games. Maybe he's not worried about the long ball anymore. Maybe he's finally thinking to himself, I'm going to go for 220 hits as opposed to 40 home runs because he could get 200 hits. Ali did it again. I had no idea that he had never had a multi-home run game before. He put the Orioles up by 1. He's genuinely got to contact the hospital where Jose Barrios was born and change that birth certificate because he is Jose's father. He's now 12 for 17. One day after Ernie botched a few plays for Alek Manoah, he makes a great play to Rob Mountcastle. Barrios then got a generous call to get Westbrook looking. Jose's done after 7 innings. Corbin Burns was great, and he was in line for the W when I started that sentence, but you knew that this was coming. Varsho, he robbed a home run and then hit a home run. I love this dude because not only is he a Swiss Army knife, he can play catcher if you need to. He's a 5'8" short king like me, so I have all of the respect in the world for him. Here he is again. We're in the 10th 10th inning now, Mateo made an insane play to rob Varsho of a base knock, but the go-ahead run still scores. Romano, he's a madman. He struck out Cowser. He's yelling into his glove. Then he got Mullins to roll over. The game's over. Baltimore, they're back to being tied for first place with the Yankees. All right, everyone, that does it for today's recap. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. We're so close to 500,000. Still can't believe I'm even saying that out loud. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy the Web Gems.
Along the right field line, yes, the dive!
Long run over. Does Matt Olson have enough room? What a play!
And he lines into center field, cutting across his Bader, and he makes the sliding catch.
This game anymore, but just a good baseball man.
And on cue, Ciani with his feet on fire handles that.
And he'll try to strand two. Vogelbach, ground ball to second. Mateo's on it. Gunner to first.